You'll find out.
We can absolutely do that. Nikki, has a PowerPoint, what format do you have?
If it's on a flash drive, that's fine.
You have some fun. Okay. So we'll do that instead of what I put together, so we can just start at the beginning. Okay. Yeah. Is that the first one I know? Like, what did that come to?
I don't know, but that was the file.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. Nobody can see that video. Or people in the scripture saying that we should be there.
Yeah, I mean, so we have one look.
Wow. Bill, do you want to grow something? And a close or, you know,
Yeah, so I mean.
That's it.
It's, that's, there's not. One thing.
It seems some people do maybe, but
Make those transfer.
Able body here, why don't we do that? There's a lot of spots, and I'll come over here.
I got a picture of it.
And it's what did you sit for the sport chair?
And the raccoon is that big.
So I saw
Yeah, it's okay.
And these two chairs will be able to test.
My mom had a good time.
You
want to say?
Yes, it's through the picture.
I had to log in.
I just sent it today.
Okay.
And I did.
I'll have to take a look. Thank you. I'm sure Alice.
And I was sitting right there.
Okay, thanks for coming, everyone. We've got Sylvie. Hi, Sylvie. We've got Lua zooming in, Emily zooming in, or can we in person?
I think she was in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do like to start on time, but we have a few more people who are going. So, the agendas are table. And you said Patty is coming.
Yeah, she thinks she might be in just after 5.
If yeah, if any of you agree, Phil or Lonnie just want to pop out and peek at the art that's that'll be under consideration for signal boxes. While we, I mean, and then if you see people come in, but it's beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks for being at the event, Sylvie.
Oh yeah, that was great. I'm sorry I can't make it in person. I've got a little fella here with me because his parents had a medical emergency with the baby.
Oh no.
Yeah, so they're at the hospital right now, but hopefully everything's gonna be fine. But this one's got a lot of energy.
They're lucky to have you. We'll know what you do if you what you're doing if you jump up and start running.
Yeah. Thank you.
So do you have kids?
No, not yet.
Busy times.
They're working.
Oh, yeah, they shut the doors.
At least you know what you did miss. Spread ones.
Been around.
Yeah, these.
All right. Don't worry.
Their prescription, they have one.
So let's see. And then,
Oh, perfect, thank you. Do you want me to go ahead and see the,
yeah, you can choose.
here?
Yeah, they come in all kinds of. Yeah, I've been waiting, I got it.
Okay, everyone, welcome, and thank you for coming. We're gonna start the meeting, so this meeting's recorded. And a few more people might trickle in. So I'd like to start with introductions, because we had a council member, Laura Fella, and here today, and would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I joined city council 2 weeks ago now, so this is my third meeting tonight. I was born and raised here in Lakewood, and really excited for the opportunity to get that. And really give a voice to folks who don't necessarily have a voice in council. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
What was your name again?
Tristan Laura Sala.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I just am gonna briefly tell you that at 6 o'clock sharp, I have to leave, and so we will wrap up the meeting at 6 o'clock sharp, but not a few minutes before. But we have an exciting meeting, and we'll start off with, just, you can.
Okay, all right. And we have, I don't think over the minutes. Okay, all right. Hello, welcome, everybody. I'm Emily Lee, I'm the chair of the Arts Commission. Nice to meet you. All right, I now call this meeting to order. And so do we have approval of the January minutes? Everyone.
I motion to.
I second.
Passed.
Okay, we're gonna move on to new exciting business, and we're gonna discuss the mural. Juan Lawrence is here to give a presentation on a concept for a mural. What has transpired since we last met is that we met with the town center people and walked around to look at possible locations. And they said that we could possibly put one up on the big wall. Maybe I mentioned this, by Burlington, the basic Main Street.
Oh, sweet, okay.
So the next step with that would be to have a sketch. Yeah,
May I ask, so isn't there a lot of trees in front of that building,
We-
that wall?
we have a picture of it where it's really clear, no
Okay.
trees and facing the street, so.
Okay, okay.
Great visibility.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, if that doesn't work, we can put it in another place, but it's a great option. And the next step is for them to see a sketch of what it would look like. And so Juan was on that walkthrough and he put together a sketch, and I'd like to start by having him discuss the idea. I briefly went over what was important to the city, cultural diversity, vibrancy. And so we will have Juan go through, I guess, do I just give him a keyboard?
Yeah, and you can just press enter to go to the next slide.
Okay, so you just press enter to go to each.
I'm pretty much gonna read what it says, so you guys have a pulse wait there.
And then if you can really project for the people on.
Okay. My name is Juan Latorre, from La Torre Studio. You have my information there, and we can talk about mural guys asking first, what does community means for you? For me, it means the unity that we create for the community. Nothing but pure common sense is to work together for the benefit of each other, right? Last year, we started Martinez work on the section of the Lakewood Festival that was called the Fiesta de la Familia. With the help of artists, volunteers, and more, they gave the chance to artists, performers, fruit vendors, etc., to participate and help many others to come out and experience good times with friends, family, and even perfect strangers. I believe that the intention of Sally behind this was to create stronger ties for the language community. So I, inspired by that, I came up with this idea that shows the diversity of citizens of Lakewood And some of its beautiful buildings connected and representing the city. The importance of this is that when people comes to see themselves represented in an image like this, they can feel that they belong somewhere. And what a better place than the city of Lakewood to celebrate the bit of feeling that we are, giving a value to the local and respecting what we build for our lives day after day. So there we have this sketch. We have all the diversity of people up there. And we have the 3 buildings that I proposed there to put in that picture. Lakewood has a diverse community with many disciplines and cultures to think about. So I include various of those facial tissues and articles of clothing and accessories to represent this memory. There are buildings, and the buildings, of course, they are just a proposal. If you guys want to change the idea, we can talk about. The coloring of the pieces idea is that it's gonna be very colorful all around the mural. But the buildings themselves are gonna be more or less like the idea on the right down and the bottom. And the background will be a mixture of geometry that we're gonna change the lines. Very colorful like the top of the picture.
So the faces that you see on the bottom left would be colored like the top right, it's really colorful and fun.
Similar with that.
Okay. That's really cool.
This is a mural that I made before for the center. This mural was the same size and type of plywood that is proposed, and the same materials to cover and protect it were also used. These are other examples of murals that have been made in other places. I wanted to show you to you so you don't feel like murals are usually being seen in walls, right? But these are panels too. This is a protective coating that I usually use for the mural, so there is no chance for a graffiti. If there's a graffiti happening on a mural, we can still save it, we can still clean it and make it forward. This is the proposed layout. Those 6 panels, as I understand it, and they will be in a horizontal position. The project will be on these 6 panels 4x8 of NBO plywood, and in this is the description for the NBO. What the NBO is the plywood that is strong enough to seize the weather.
Can you hear?
I just got here.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're projecting to everyone. Okay.
La Torre Studio will deliver the panels approximately 10 weeks after the first payment of 50% to allow the purchase of materials. We can be installing these with the brackets or angles. The city will be responsible for installation and installation costs. There may be a possibility for artists from the roof inside of their bid if needed. Here you have the budget, as we have proposed it.
There was someone from Little. Thank you, that's yes.
Yeah.
Could you just go, oh, okay. And then I was gonna ask when you're done, if you could go back to the design for council member Bell. So just so Councilmember Bell and Paige can see the design, this is the proposal from Juan. Highlighting the diversity of people in Lakewood and a few of the historical buildings. And then if you want, so the faces would be really colorful. So if you want to scroll back to the picture that shows the So the top right is how the faces would be with the strong color. The purpose is to represent all the different cultures in our community through the facial features and clothing. And then the historical buildings would be in those tones.
So, yeah, I think the tones of the sepia would be on buildings, but the faces might be more natural tones, natural skin tones, and then both all around in the background. Blending in around the sepia tones and such.
So the faces would be natural skin tones and not like the ones up the fire.
But it's gonna try to represent everyone's skin color at first, and it's gonna be in combination with the colors. But that are gonna be all around.
Okay, so the colors in the background. Okay.
Can I see this sketch again? And the three buildings are gonna each be
One part is.
yeah, okay, and then the faces are gonna break it that way too. Yeah.
Now, this is if we put it on wood panels, so if we use the Burlington wall, it'll need to be on the panels. So they can be removed, and then you can move them around as well, but if it's on a solid surface, then that'd just be on a solid surface. So this is a really good time with the art section here. Thank you so much. It's so helpful to hear the thought process behind it, to see a sketch, you know, that you planned this out so well. This is a really good time to ask one questions or ask me questions, and have a dialogue, around them here.
Do we have a photo of the building?
I don't think I put it. I do.
And we're not supposed to do that down to the wall.
I would be wrong, but I thought I saw this. Yeah.
So, yeah, on the side of the location, so then it'll face means maybe to driving.
And we can't use the Bed Bath and Beyond wall. That's not.
That is an option. It's pretty, it's not in good shape. Is when we looked at it, it was not in good shape. And it doesn't have the visibility that this wall would have. And it's definitely not set in stone.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And can I ask a question about the makeup of the representation? You know, the breakdown in Lakewood is very specific,
Yeah,
you know, like 10% African American,
yeah.
you know. It's like the percentages are all out here. And it would be really cool if the representation of people was specific to that actual breakdown. I mean, I'm just saying that would be cool.
I would like to see a little bit more varied representation of the people's faces, just slightly. I mean,
Why
I
don't
think
you
you're
go
really
through
good.
the nationalities that, the cultures that you picked on here? And then we'll write those down. Or with it that calculation.
Yes, starting on the
Yeah.
left,
Okay, so wait, here's the side conversations. One's gonna go through and each nationality.
starting on the left is an Asian person. The second one is a Middle person. The third one is a Native American person. Number 4 is a Hawaiian person. The next one is a white person. The one that follows that is a black person. And the last one is a Latino person.
So Patty.
I think I was just, you know, I mean, an obvious thing would be somebody with curly hair. So if, I don't know if you could add that with something a little bit, just slight. I know that you're gonna do skin tone, so that's a little different too, so. I
For the
think that's-
African American added curly hair.
Yeah, something like that, maybe,
We could do that.
because at first I was thinking you were saying it was all colorful, so I was trying to figure that out. You know, try to differentiate, but I like it. I think it's really good, to represent just a little bit of things that are a little more obvious.
Whoever was saying who those people are, can you do it again, please?
The first person on the top left is
The what?
Lean in a little bit once it's the mic.
the first person is on the top left is an Asian person. The second one is a Middle East person. The third
Yeah.
is Native American.
Did you have a question?
The second person is what?
The Middle East person.
Vietnamese?
Middle East.
Middle
Oh,
Eastern.
Middle East. Okay, well, is that supposed to be like a scarf there that shows?
Yes.
Okay,
The third one is a Native American. The fourth one is a Hawaiian.
how do you know that's Hawaiian?
It has like flowers on the sides.
Those are not flowers. They don't look like flowers.
Well, that's just the skin.
Look like hair braids.
That's right.
Yeah, well, Pacific Islanders did not signify as hair braids.
There's no color in these though, I think, Laura.
Yeah, I know.
No, but
But
there-
I would rather have but it's hard to put a flower there with on the ear when there's no ear. Anyway, keep going.
Well, I just want to make it really clear that this is an initial concept. And then we'd work with Juan on what we would want or suggest to be included.
Okay.
Like if you were right, we could change that.
I strongly suggest to the artist, when you say, do not say Hawaiian, because Hawaiian does not, it's just one country of the Pacific Island. You should say Pacific Islander instead of Hawaiian. Because that offends me. I'm Samoan.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, keep going.
The next one is a white person. The next one after that is an African American person. And the last one is a Latino person.
Yeah, well, those two, the Latino and Black, I cannot tell whether they're Black or Latino. Anyway, Sylvie can help.
Can we maybe, Juan, can you maybe change the eye shape? Because to me, the eye shapes are very, very similar. And maybe study more the different races and eye shapes to that particular race, maybe. Because right now they all look very similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna interject here that we haven't voted on who is going to do the mural.
No.
Juan went ahead and took the initiative. He heard about it, was really excited about it, and wanted to put something forth, which I really appreciate the effort, the dial. He had a big description that came first. So if we, after this meeting, if we decide, yes, this is something we want to go with, then we would hone down. I think we're looking at, does Juan have the capacity, the artistic skills? Should we suggest to
Mhm.
the base, to change the base? I think, yes, that's an obvious thing.
The sketch looks great, though. I like the
Mhm.
idea a lot.
Yeah, me too.
So again, this is a great chance for any questions, any.
I love the concept.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Thank you for all of your.
excellent. Now, Nikki, do we have a copy of this saved, or will I need to get that?
I can see that.
Okay, if you could say that. And then, Mauricio, is there anything else while you're here? Do you want to discuss that you have your art or anything else that you want to?
Well, I'd like to invite everybody to take a look at a new art display that we have in the lobby here. It includes work by myself and by Laura Martinez, who is the Lakewood resident. She did the photographs at the far end by the men's room. And then River Meshi made these straight out of her head on her iPad. These beautiful, imaginary, and pretty profound, semi-spiritual West paintings that are outside the door here. And we're having a big opening on Monday, the 17th of April at 5:30. And hopefully you can come, bring your friends, lots of people, the more the merrier. That way we can, I would love to see this become like a really cool gallery in Lakewood that's a cultural center. Where people can show their work without having to be a commercial gallery. Where people of all kinds can show their work, of all levels of artistry. Have a chance to display their work and feel valued by the society that they live in. So thank you, Sally, for having invited us. Well, this is the number 3rd or 4th show that we're having now of art. And we're very thrilled and happy to be participating in this. And we thank you, City of Lakewood, for hosting us. So take a look when you go outside.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great to hear. Any last questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
release.
you so much. You may be dismissed.
All right. Happy meeting.
And then if anyone wants to move closer to the speakers after our artists leave, you can scooch down. So Lua and Sylvie can hear you. Thank you.
Good seeing you. Thank you. I love your.
It was. In our meeting, thank you.
A little bit of guards.
Okay, thank you.
If you want.
Thank you. And again, if you want to move down closer to the speaker, that'd be fabulous. Okay,
We decided we don't want to.
Thank you, sir.
okay.
Thank you, Paul.
We're very comfortable where we are.
You can say exactly where you are, and then if you want to shut the door. So I would like to, before we move forward, and talk about presentation amongst us, and do we want to open it up to more artists, or are we feeling strongly that Juan is our man and we'd like to hone it down? He showed a lot of initiative, and he seemed really on point for our goals for this project. But I'm gonna turn it over for discussion.
I would like to see something from some other artists as well. I wasn't really, I think there are other ways to celebrate cultural diversity other than showing faces of what people should look like. And I could see how you're telling an African American person that they're going to look like this. You're going to tell a white person they're going to look like this. A Pacific Islander that they're going to look like this. And that might be taken in an offensive manner to some that are mixed races altogether, where they don't know where they fit in or what they should look like, and yet we're telling them they should look like this. And I think there might be other ways to celebrate that cultural diversity of Lakewood rather than using people's faces or suggestions of what they should look like. And that's my opinion.
I think those are really good points. I liked it, Sally, when you were saying that he was gonna use the multicolor, whatever that.
Yeah,
was.
sorry.
Okay, that's cool,
Yeah.
and I can see that, but once I was told that each tone was something, I was like, oh, it's
But
not
you
too
see, he
specific.
could do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
we could.
it's that concept.
But I do think that leaves less room for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more abstract.
We want to involve white stuff.
Yeah.
And like you said that, I take offense at this representation. It's like, well, so how do you avoid that? How do you?
Yeah, that's probably a good warning sign, right?
Right, so I was like,
Red
okay,
flag,
so if
right?
that's the case, maybe something more abstract. And you're right, that
That piece
the
that you
various colors kind of does make it more
You're
abstract.
not just pinpointing and putting
It's
specific.
not totally
color.
known.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And then as far as the mural aspect with all the buildings go, I feel like that's something I've seen so many times
Yeah.
before representing Lakewood, the Colonial Center. Thornwood Castle and things like I just think we're kind of missing the mark on what really the focus of Lakewood really is. And I think I've just seen something like that before.
I was gonna comment about that building.
Yeah, I mean, the Colonial Center is in so many different depictions of it. I mean, so.
They're really in progress as a city, moving forward to something
We are.
altogether different than when the founders founded it. So, yeah, I'm up for abstract.
I mean, it sounds like you're going for a different vibe, like, right? The vibes are out with that.
I think I would like to see what other artists could put forward as well.
no.
Oh, sorry.
I'm like,
She's got it. No, but you could ask them too, hey, we really liked this style. Could you, yeah, could you do something more, like you said, less on the nose? That's so obvious.
I mean, even one face with all the colors, I don't know, I mean.
What process do you guys use to have a request for proposal on that sort of thing to get out to the community to
Yeah,
propose? art?
that's a good question. So there's two ways we can do this. We can do a request for a proposal, which we've done in the past, or we can work with specific artists. We're currently working with this Latino group of artists. This year, and they've come together. There's about 7 of them, and we kicked off the year with an artist reception where they all have their artwork. And I kind of feel like this is their year, they're really stepping forward. It's 40% of the population is Latino in the school district. And sometimes it's just really nice to work with an artist and who's ambitious like this. When you put out a call to artists, it's a whole nother, it takes a lot of time, and you don't know the people, you don't know who you're working with, you don't know their follow through, you don't know if they can digitize something that needs to be digitized or, and so, but we do work with both, and that's not off the table to open it up, but this was just a first step.
Yeah, so my fear for having faces, first of all, it doesn't cover all the faces that should be there. And then secondly is that it just going with the faces that I saw today, I could see a whole bunch of questions from thousands of people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I just want to add that to the comments that are already there.
Lua, I really
There are trees.
speak.
Our
Oh, you can just mute this, Sylvia, if you want.
Well, is there a way to do a mural where we're celebrating each culture, not with people's faces, but maybe with other symbols? Something that celebrates Lakewood and everybody, like all the cultures being inclusive, like I don't know what it would be for the Asian Pacific culture, but Lua could add in for that. But like for the Mexican culture, maybe it would be something like the banner of flowers or something, some kind of symbol that you capture a lot on the mural, like, something from everybody.
But how do we capture something from everybody? There's a lot of cultures.
That you cast
Well,
about.
whoever the artist is, that's the challenge for the artist, Earl.
This one, then you're offending people.
I was just at the Space Needle, and they've got some things, but they take iconic symbols of the area, whether it be Mount Rainier or the big Ferris wheel or the Space Needle. We showed some of ours, they're not quite as famous as the ones in Seattle, but I think we need to get the artist some guidance if we're looking to say Lakewood, what represents Lakewood? Okay, I understand diversity, but there's other things in Lakewood that would give people a feeling that this is our city,
So this is
or they can
good.
relate to it. I mean, abstract's good, but I wouldn't want a whole mural because I'd have to sit there and figure it out. And
Phil doesn't want to think.
yeah, I'm kind of right brain. Yeah.
Good opportunity to work on the identity
That's
that we
right.
talk a
That's right.
lot about. So this is a
All the
great
time.
place to steer the artist where you want them to go.
This seems tricky, this, I mean, this is a good conversation. Because I can see an artisan coming back with lakes and, you know, already the buildings were saying we're seeing that too much, but that's very much the identity of Lakewood. And so this could get really tricky for an artist. And I think the direction from us is gonna be pretty critical unless we want to just have it more open and have it more the feeling you have come to have it, with the feeling we want people to have. You know, or I don't have any experience with this.
I mean, even, you know, I don't know, I mean, even if they were to do something, if you wanted to use like a landmark like the Colonial Center with every color that you can even imagine, you know, fit into the colonial, like the tower, so, you know, and each color represents a different ethnic, you know, group, you know, to some degree. I mean, or even a face that represented that, you know, something to something along the lines of that, but I'm not, I think, I'm not sure, at least for me, I think we should just stray away from trying to figure out, trying to overthink this and what all symbols are in Lakewood, because there's so much diversity in this community.
Okay, how about this? The sense of belonging. I mean, ultimately, there's a lot of cultures here
Good idea.
because they do feel like they belong. Now, the sense of belonging has a lot of symbols, be more like symbols. But do we want to convey that?
Maybe it's not even about the cultures. Maybe it's about what Lakewood's about. And because we have, like Earl or someone was saying about having Mount Rainier in the background, but also putting all these other things that represent Lakewood, like the lakes, like the market, like Summerfest, and having that all on the mural, hiking, walking around the lake, at Fort Steilacoom, the military base. Maybe you just kind of hit a whole bunch of different things that actually represent Lakewood, and you have people in the mural, but not anyone that's pinpointing that, you know, oh, this person's Asian, this person's, you know, white, whatever.
And a lot of generic ways of doing is this cartoonist, you know, the kind of drawings where brown, white, black, you know, so that way they're identified by colors and not by, you know, not by who they are. It's easier, something like that. That's a lot of those. That's why so many of them, they use cartoonist characters or paper dolls or something, you know, that because there's so many. When you talk about diversity, there's so many, so you don't want to try to address all that and miss something, you know, then that one little miss will get us in trouble somehow.
Do you have a girl that you really like, Lua, like that you've seen that you'd be like, hey, this is the type of thing that would work?
I want our thing in Lakewood to be unique and different and sweet and cute and, you know, but generic.
You know, I think about the, it's the famous piece, they made a full musical about, you know, Saturday in the Park with George, just the idea of a park, you know, families. And I think about Fort Steilacoom Park, it's just really such a big park in this city that we're so proud of. And, you know, businesses come and go, there's lots of great food here and big shopping, but there's also this beautiful park, which is free. And everyone can just go there with their kids. And we put some good money into that. I love that pavilion. So yeah, I'm just like someone just make it a beautiful day in the park, so we can all look at it when it's rainy and remember. You know, we all get out there and do stuff, you know, when it's raining too, but.
So a gathering space.
I think of it, yeah, just people gathering in the free public areas that we do have in the city, because, yeah, I know lots of like, I'm eating dinner and go to the movies, but that's kind of not a good thing. Yeah, but family life for sure is huge here, and when you go to the park, it's beautiful there, and oh my God, there's so many families that are just hanging out, you know, from graduation parties to, you know, the ball games, and there's always so much going on.
You could almost use the park and then fill it in with certain things. You know,
Yeah, who knows what you can do.
Yeah, with the idea of the park is open,
Being
it's
like
fun.
landscape.
That, yeah, people, they identify with it, but you could have like Summerfest could be one little thing. You could have other bicycle riding, you could mix things in it.
Or just like.
And an iconic building somewhere that people would identify to.
Seems to me like we need to pin down, you know, what question are we asking the artist to answer? Because he definitely was working, you know, he globbed onto the what does community mean to me? And that was his representation of community. But maybe that's not our question for what is what's in the mural.
And it's like to be all, you know, like you said, all the same age, all the same sex, possibly even. And so diversity is so huge, you know, it's all ages, it's all, you know, people who like to stay indoors, people, that's why it's like the park thing is tough, because it's people who go outside, and that is just one part of people, there's some people who go outside, you know, too much.
But I mean, you could put symbols in it. But the park is the big, I'm just saying that I like the idea is the park, because it'd be light, it's airy, and people would relate to it. But I also think we need to do something for the military, because they're a major part of the economic viability of the community.
They go to the park, you know, and then it's also the lakes, think about like American Lake Park, and American Lake, you know, obviously like, there's the lake, you know, people are swimming, they're fishing, they're running their little boats in there. There's just so many things we all do, we've all done.
Well, people brainstorming, what if it was more of a timeline that honored Lakewood's past, present, and our vision for the future? Have it match seasons and have things happen in Lakewood during the given seasons.
It's not a bad idea.
Of course, we embrace, as we look to the future, how we are becoming even more diverse, as we new people in our community.
What were the other murals that we've done so far?
So we've only done one, and it was the World Within Lakewood one that was done by the students at Clover Park. And they, LMCC kind of takes it around, it's on a canvas now, it's up at the cafeteria, but it's also put on a canvas that's portable and it goes around. So it has a lot of people, faces.
So it's almost,
It's very,
that theme has
Yeah.
almost been already taken by the previous mural, correct?
Yeah.
So maybe we kind of go into a little bit different direction then. I mean,
so is this a subcommittee meeting?
I think.
I think, yeah, we're in the meeting's almost over. So we need to drill down and have a subcommittee meeting, so we'll follow up. If
Okay.
everyone's good with that. And of course, if you have a theme that comes to you tonight when you can't sleep, 4 a.m, email me. Does that sound good? We'll have a subcommittee meeting where we'll drill down on this. And I might bring in a mural specialist, because I don't know how much direction you're supposed to give to a mural artist and what works well for a good outcome. And I think that's the whole science in itself. So I'll call the city of Tacoma and look into that. Okay, thank you. Emily, what is next? So the art review process. If I could, okay. The art review process. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming to the opening of John Fleming's Art, the Gateway Arts. Everyone came. The few people who didn't had very, very good excuses. So it was an incredible showing. And you were there. Councilmember Bell was there. So thank you, everyone. And the incident obviously was that the review process, the Arts Commission, we do not have a formal review process. So the quotes were not reviewed. And we will want to include something about that in our policies and procedures. And let's discuss that.
Could we also include in the contract to the artist to where there's nothing, they can't include anything that's of an offensive nature?
Well, what we learned, and this is the learning process, is that subjective.
It is
So
subjective.
after talking to him, he just felt like that was like representing an idea that someone in Lakewood had, and that the art should represent that. So that was a really big learning process that
Yeah, okay.
we need to be online. For. So how would you like to implement that to a policy?
Just anything written needs to be good, has to,
Yeah,
the committee, the subcommittee.
Yeah, what's interesting is his concept, I mean, we all approved the main concept and really he had it very well detailed out. The final details were just actually what those quotes were.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I mean, and that was just a timing thing because of picking stuff up from, getting stuff from the community. So maybe we just didn't, we needed to just get together and read it one more time.
yeah.
It's just a.
Or read them.
Well, we never had them all in one place.
Right,
You know, I
yeah.
kept asking, can I just have a Word document with all of them? And that didn't come until all this went down, and still it wasn't until a couple of days before the event that he was able to get it in this format. But I think, needless to say,
Because
I
he had it
think
all digitized.
anything
So-
in writing needs to be reviewed by the Arts Commission.
Is at the sole discretion, I mean, the use of it is at the sole discretion of the arts commission.
I wouldn't just say things in writing, but the entire, all the content would be.
The final
Yeah,
details of the
fine.
piece, yeah.
That we reserve the right as the arts commission.
Yeah, and I think I would even tie final payment to services, right? So connect that, so there's. Otherwise, the artist has no incentive to. Change anything.
Right, in the same way, like a performing artist, a musician would not be okay for them to do. To say those things in their songs, at a publicly funded event. Punk venue is fine, or whatever, it's important that we have to say those things,
Mhm.
because we have little kids that see things and we have to be sensitive to our community, our great.
It's supposed to be a reflection of our community.
It's a no-brainer, yeah, we tell the musicians too that, our new thing is that, you don't use inflammatory language, or, or whatever, we have both visual and. artists.
Gerald got a question or something to say.
Hi, folks. I had a question for everybody. Did you guys all get the sense that the dissenters were directing their displeasure at the city itself, the artist, or the commission in choosing what was going to be in the sculpture? What were your thoughts?
That we don't ask questions.
Carol, you asked, you thought that the questions were directed specifically at the Arts Commission or the art?
Yeah,
That's the-
the tone of one of the dissenters was, well, who made you folks the deciders? That kind of rankled my, there was a lot of thought that went into the choosing of the artist. We vetted quite a few, and the diligent process.
Commission, they can go right ahead.
But I was trying to get a feel for what their cause was. It just seemed like they were dissenting just for the sake of dissenting.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
These specific people typically do that with almost any topic that happens at the city of Lakewood.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I think it was a really important, valuable learning lesson. It could have been worse. Because we don't have a review process in place, and now we will,
Yep.
and it'll be in writing.
Agreed.
And, you know, we don't do iconic pieces often, maybe once every 6 years, so, we're not, you know, professionals in this specific realm, and we're learning, so.
I think as this review process comes together and is finalized, it's really important that that gets communicated out to the community so they can see that we take it seriously and that we're getting it right.
Okay,
There was fire from the beginning, even before the specific language on that one piece.
Oh, there was.
Now, so.
Anytime you ever do like any kind of a monument, people
But that's, yeah, but.
always,
There's always.
It
gonna be
doesn't
people
matter
who are
what it
fine.
is,
Yeah.
you're always.
but that said, that shouldn't take away from what people were upset about in terms of the title.
yeah,
But that's still a valid concern.
Yep.
Yes.
Whether or not, no matter who it comes from. Right.
I mean, even if we were to try to put Space Needle in today, people would go, oh my god. It looks like a flying saucer.
It's a good opportunity to educate people because they also don't know where the funding comes from. They think that you're not building a homeless shelter or whatever it may be.
Yep,
And you're spending it on this. So it's just a really great tool to educate people on.
good point.
So I think that's what you could leverage that and use that when you come back out with
And it's
things.
a great opportunity because we have it potential. Right?
Yeah,
Whereas otherwise people may not have been engaged and ready to hear what the process was, so that how funding goes to the arts. And
Right.
um,
Is there a communication plan, like from who other committees do communication plans?
around, we have a communications team that they develop.
For all the different committees for the city?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one bucket.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to rush this because this is important, but I would love to touch on the signal boxes with the last 5 minutes. Or is everyone okay moving on?
Mhm.
Okay, so 5 minutes, signal boxes, they're so fun. We've got 10 to wrap, and I've got a PowerPoint. Again, this is art that was just submitted by the Latino artist group and other people that have trickled in, and it sounds like some of you have artists and mine now also. There's some in the hall, and so please take a picture when you leave of any of the art you would love to see in a box, if there is any, and email it to me. We'll have a subcommittee meeting, but I'll quickly go through what was submitted so far. All the measurements are done, so once we choose the artist, we're ready to go. So this is Juan Latour, who was here, and this is called Elephants and Horses. Oh, sorry, should I go back? Yes, please. Okay. This is Auntie and Baby. Submission King. Dancing in Motion. And then this is Jose Arantes, who just had his reception. The sailboats. The fish.
That's neat.
And of course, you know, some could be on the sides and some on the front. Oh, so those are Jose's, but of course he can do any of his that you saw. And this is River Mesh, or Renee, she goes by River and Renee. And so, oh gosh, that second one's blocked. Is there a way to?
I'm trying to minimize. It's right. Yeah. Of Sylvie.
Oh.
Laser.
Okay, so this is really helpful in that River put them, superimposed them on the signal boxes. And then this is Roberto Sanchez, who was on our possible for next grant.
Yeah,
So this is when we did the artist submissions and then we scored them. He didn't get chosen, And then he submitted this new one, because we talked about him submitting another one. This is Christine Ward Westfall, who's done a box already,
2.
2 boxes. Lakewood resident. And a few more. I just pulled Susan Russell Hall, has always said we can use any of her, so I went to her website, and this one I hadn't seen before. She's a Lakewood artist and has done a couple boxes.
That's a cool one.
Again, this is Mauricio. His art's so amazing.
He's done like 3 or 4 now.
Yeah, he's love with dogs too in Lakewood. The dogs are gonna be a big hit. And his art out here is spectacular, and any of his art out there can be put on signal boxes. He's done, I believe, 6 boxes. It's hard not to keep doing him because it's all so great. So then we went down to. So, I just wanted to show you those. We're gonna need to wrap up the meeting, but we'll have a subcommittee meeting. If anyone who's not on the public art subcommittee wants to be on it, let me know. Who wants to come to the meeting, let me know. Because we really are at the point where we want to pick artists and get started. Now, we can pick them slowly or we can pick them all at once. But if we know a couple, let's say we know we want Jose, then we can just say, okay, you're doing this box and get him started and kind of keep going. Is there any artists that presented here in the next 1 minute that you're like, yes, I know I want this artist? Or is it just, let's think about it?
Well, I really like Mauricio's, but he's got a lot already.
Yeah, I think we.
I mean, we need kind of risk going with a theme if we do a little, I love his work. We're walking a line.
Okay, what about Jose's?
Yeah, I got a couple of pieces.
Okay.
I like a couple of Rivers pieces.
Oh, can we get Louis space back here? So do we wanna,
Section.
I would love to be able to do a vote on Jose. Just because he just showed, we all know his artwork. Is he one person that we could vote to get started and give him a box or a double box, or is it too soon?
He was the one with the fish and the sailboats, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And he,
I'm done with that.
He's good.
Yeah, yeah. Be great.
does it put out some type of a vote? We need to do that.
I vote we choose Jose for the
You-
first
you-
box.
motion.
I motion.
I'll second it. Yeah, one second.
Okay, and what about, are we ready with River? Did anyone like Rivers, or is that a maybe?
What was the Rivers again? I'm sorry.
She's the dark,
Yeah. Let me see.
the dark background. She's out there in the world.
But she had.
And she has a wonderful boxes in here with the.
Oh, yeah. I did.
And there's an octopus in a face.
Who did the workout?
That's Mauricio.
But that didn't look like it's Mauricio.
Who did Light of Spring? Who did Light of Spring? Or Light of Spring and Dancing in Motion.
That was a one.
Dancing in Motion was really nice. I thought that was cool.
Juan would love the opportunity to do a box. Do we want to give Juan an opportunity? And he could sketch something else out if we don't particularly like the ones there.
Sure.
I motion that. I motion. Lonnie motions.
Patty, how are you feeling? Yeah.
Yeah, have one do a box.
Okay, Juan, and then what about River?
I motion River to have a box too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, River. And then Laura Martinez is showing. She's from Lakewood, which is really nice, and she's on the far wall.
Yeah, with the courtroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why do you want to all look at it and then just email me a yes or no for Laura, and then we could start with those 4?
Sure.
Does that sound good?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful night.
Sally.
Good to see you, everyone. Bye, Lua. Bye, Sylvie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You got my name wrong.
So again, Laura is. Where is that from? Sally, can you let me this?
Yeah, you did.
Thank you.
But you know what's so funny?
Thank you.
You always get it. It's VORGERT.
Oh, sure.
But you know what's so funny? People always say, so this